Do-do-do-do. This video is actually designed to make you feel better about your own photography, and it certainly should. Taken from a logical position and with retrospection, looking at the stuff that I see all the time, let's take a look at some facts. And of course, you should always be trying to, be working against yourself as far as improving your photography, and that's, of course, is always about composition, lighting control, and post-production. Essentially, those three arenas. It's not about buying more gear. I mean, you could do a lot more with a cheap camera and lens with good lighting than you can a super expensive camera and lens with crap lighting, because everything is lighting. But talking about photography and how, I don't want to generalize here, but I have to, and I want to like to give a couple really prime examples about the photography community, by and large, being really snippy. It's kind of like those radical TV shows where all these multimillionaire women are always ragging and moaning on each other, and they're all drop dead gorgeous and they're all super rich, but one might be slightly prettier than the other, and they're just always like tearing each other apart. Here's two prime examples, and one of them really pissed me off. You have, and he was always one of my hero photographers growing up, and that's Steve McCurry. You know who he is. He took a picture of the Afghan girl, and I follow him on Instagram, and the guy is always traveling. He's probably got like 1 billion points on his Delta frequent flyer miles. He's been in war zones and shot at who knows how many times, and a true grit, real photographer, National Geographic, won countless awards, taken some of the most iconic images in the entire world. He's just a photographer's photographer. And it's undeniable, even if you don't like his photos. I know he's a great photographer, but I don't like his work. Whatever, he's a true photographer. And then you got, a talentless hack loser nobody on YouTube, and I don't care how many subscribers they have, ripping the guy apart, basically accusing him of every nasty, dirty thing in the world, including blaming the Me Too movement on Steve McCurry. I mean, you want to talk about an example. There's just how, as well as I do, there are many. That's just one example. There are many examples like this. It doesn't matter how good you would ever become as a photographer. And of course you could say, well, that's jealousy, right? Of the many things that I'm guilty of, and I'm actually guilty of picking on other YouTubers, and I know people pick on me all the time. It's because I don't play a popularity contest, and I'm kind of pretty salty. But the one thing that I'm not guilty of is that I'm not guilty of ever picking on real photographers or some real photographers that are on YouTube. Now, Steve McCurry, for example, he's the guy that's always traveling. I mean, he's an older dude. He's a real hardcore photographer. He's like the Abraham Lincoln. He's not that old, of course. Like the Abraham Lincoln of photography. You just don't go dissing Steve McCurry. And Mark Smith, he's that wildlife photographer. Everybody loves a dude. He looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I hung out with him one day, him and his son, and I got nothing but good things to say about him. Who's that other guy, the Nikon wildlife photographer? Steve Perry. Love him a lot. I don't care if any of these people like or hate me. I mean, I always support them. I've always supported real photographers that are on YouTube, and of course real photographers in general. But it's just so galling to see somebody like Steve McCurry, getting dumped on by a talentless hack nobody on YouTube. I mean, one direct quote against that was said about Steve, which actually pissed the hell out of me, is the worst thing that could have happened to, I forget her name, the Afghan girl. The worst thing that could have happened to her that day was getting photographed by Steve McCurry. I said, what the hell are you talking about? This woman, the little Afghan girl, is in this dangerous refugee camp where people are getting physically assaulted in the most heinous ways, and just horrible things. And yeah, the worst thing that could have happened to that girl is getting her picture taken by, man, talk about pissing me off. I did an interview with another famous photographer, fashion, shoots for Elle, Vogue, Harper's, and we did an interview. You know who he is. He's a great photographer, and of course I praise all his images, and Benjamin Kinerick, and I don't care if people like leave a nasty comment because they hate me. That's fine. But people, and there weren't many, but there was like a dozen of them. People leaving these nasty comments on my YouTube, and I delete them. It's like, who the hell are you? Let's see your work. The one thing like I said, of things that I'm guilty of, because I'm salty and I'm crusty and tattooed, and I'm guilty of all of that, right? But I'm not guilty of dissing on real photographers. Steve Perry, the wildlife photographer, Mark Smith, the other wildlife photographer. Name some other ones that I really like. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head. There's like a dozen or something like that of them on there. Great. It's just all these people are just always... it's okay if the YouTubers go after each other. People love going after me, and that's fine. What do I care? But it doesn't matter how good you're going to be. You're going to have like talentless hacks like that. it's just too pissy, This isn't really a rant. It should make you feel better about your own. It's like, got some of these really famous, great photographers, and they're still getting ragged on by nobody losers, including, I still consider that person a nobody loser, that has an up-teen zillion subscribers. You don't go attacking Steve McCurry. Man, that video still pissed me off so much. It's like, who the hell do you think you are? You're nobody, You want to pick on me? Fine. I'm not guilty of that. I'm not guilty of that. I always loved Steve McCurry's work. I got like 4 copies of that Afghan Girl National Geographic magazine somewhere. The point is that all these people are always picking on real photographers on, I guess on social media platforms, Facebook, and social media, of course, is is a double-edged sword. It's got a really evil dark side. I don't. I'm grumpy and salty, but I always supported photographers like him. Always have. I've been unwavering in my support for them. Try to get along with them. I don't care if any of them hate me. Do hate me, have hated me. Who cares? I still support them. Stuff like that pisses me off. The point being is that you should feel a lot better about your own stuff. Just try to improve, set goals for yourself, and try to improve your own work. I got sidelined for basically 10 years taking care of my wife dying of cancer. There's a lot of stuff that happened to me. Is that an excuse? Yes and no. Social media is a pretty, it's great, and you meet people, and, it's really cool, and then it's got a really dark side. So this really wasn't a salty rant, but stuff like that pisses me off, man. Man, you really got to have some heinous stupidity to go after somebody like Steve or the guy that I interviewed a month ago. And there weren't many. Like I said, there was like a dozen comments, maybe less than a dozen comments. Like, who the hell do you think you are, Who the hell? It's like, this person's published in, the top magazines in the world, and, the work is just awesome. Who the hell do you think you are? Who the hell do you think you are? If you say you don't like it, fine, shut your mouth. It's like, well, that's beautiful photography, but it's not my flavor, I like something different. We all have our own likes and dislikes. I don't actually like the look of Rolls-Royce cars. I don't like the way they look. But I acknowledge that, hey, that's a fine crafted piece of masterwork craftsmanship right there, Not like they used to be, but the point being is that, that's fine, beautiful craftsmanship. I don't particularly like the way Rolls-Royce, it's not my flavor. So, yeah, I had to rant about that. I really, really wanted to rant about that. So go ahead and hate this video if you like. At least I was honest in it. At least I actually expressed myself honestly, which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of YouTubers that are trying to blow smoke up your skirt and sell you something. You know, I'm definitely not selling anything to anybody. So go ahead and hate me all you want. You know, I'm used to that. Mic drop.